Now I just want to show you today's arrivals. Very exciting day in the Real Loved Guitars house because these three beasties arrived, and these are from Ed, and I've taken these in exchange for a refret on Ed's vintage V6. This is a pre-Wilkinson era, I think. I mean, it's not the vintage Icon series or anything like that. But well, it's not pre-Wilkinson. It's got some Wilkinson parts, but it's slightly different from the later ones in terms of the logo and so on. Anyway, nice guitar, got Wilkinson pickups and tuners, sounds sweet. And in exchange for that refret, I've inherited these three wonderful things, to me, utterly wonderful. These are three Indian guitars, and if you've been watching my stuff, you'll know how much I like these Indian things. Really interesting for me is this one here. Let me just pull up these wires. A very interesting thing for me, this one. This is the Pearl Sparkle Encore Strat, Indian made, and they all got made in India tags on them anyway. But what surprised me is that I don't think I've seen one, well, I haven't seen one made in India that I am aware of with this headstock before, so that took me by surprise. I always thought the made in Indias only had this shape headstock, which is the one that I've been reshaping, or have reshaped on two now already. So there's that headstock reshaped on Martin's guitar, and this one's hanging up here waiting for a few more things, lacquer and so on. And it was waiting for some decals which have arrived, so I can do that part too. So these three are just perfect because that one is James has got his eye on, and I've got a neck ready, prepared to go on there, and it was a neck like this which I've reshaped and also slimmed down. And interestingly, this profile on this neck, or the shape of this neck, is a little slimmer than that one, not much, and it's much slimmer than that one, which is a bit of a baseball bat. So it's really interesting that it just fits perfectly. I've got a neck to go on that one. This one I'm going to reshape, but I think it's slim enough to stay as is, and that's going to then become another Mark Knopfler special. And what I've got here today is I'm taking a kind of profile or shape mold of the 3 points on this neck, because what I want to do is I want to recreate that shape of neck on this is my favourite quote-unquote dead man's maple neck. This is ex-Graham, who passed away, and somebody I never knew, but I inherited this neck and refretted it, and it's just sublime. So my aim is to recreate that neck using these. Difficult to do those because I can't get the shape out of it, so that's okay. This will get put aside for something else. This one will be done incomplete as is with the neck reshaped. This one, I've been looking around at finding out what it is, and I just Ed kind of referred to it as an unknown sort of telly with a vintage neck on it, and actually what it is, it's an Indian original vintage brand Telecaster. And what's great about these that nobody ever pays credit for is, okay, it's not a very attractive headstock or neck even, because it's a bit club-like. It plays absolutely brilliantly, believe it or not, but what you get for this is you get a full weight body. And actually there's no other brands, like in the Squire range, you won't get a full weight or full thickness body until you get into the Squire Standard series. There's through body stringing and everything, so this is a great start point. This actually plays quite well as is, but what I have got is I've got a Squire Standard series maple neck in the shed, so that is probably going to go on there. The pickups, actually, I really like the tone of them, although they're a little bit low output. They do have a nice tone. They're imbalanced. This is too close, but I enjoyed playing it this morning. And then with James I got into discussion about the pickups on these, and the funny thing is, when I first ever played a Sun Mustang, which comes from the same factory and features exactly the same pickups, when I first ever played it, I was just blown away by how good it sounded. Now, I'm not a pickup expert, so I just thought, well, that's typically me. I just like everything I play and everything I hear. And what I've done today, after chatting with James, who's got his eye on this one, having fitted iron gear pickups to this one, which are 60 quid a set, and they're nice sounding, I did a back-to-back shootout between those pickups, the original Encore Strat Sun Mustang factory, and these pickups at 60 quid. And I have to tell you, I can't really tell that much difference, and I like both of them. And interestingly, James in certain places like the tone of these as much, if not more, than some of the iron gear ones. So I don't think it's my imagination that the Indian single coils that came with these old Encores and Sun Mustangs were really, really good. Now, in a way, that gives me an option. If I just trust in my judgment that they do sound great, and I really do think they do, and you can hear the samples on the Facebook page, if I trust in that judgment, then I can do this for 60 quid cheaper, because they're really great sounding, and I can focus on the neck, which turns this guitar from a, oh, it's an Encore with a bit of a thick neck, into a special guitar, which is really what I've done with that one. As you can see, it's an Encore body. It's slightly lighter than the Sun Mustang version, but it's fitted in this case with iron gear pickups with boosts on them, which is quite handy. It's a nice little touch. But what makes this guitar what it is the setup on the neck and the neck itself. Now, Encore and Sun never made, in the Indian factories I believe, they never made a maple neck for these guitars, and the chance of finding a maple neck with a 54mm heel for these two is very, very slim. So that's why I'm looking to replicate the feel and the dimensions of that maple neck, because it's the dimensions and the feel of it rather than whether it's got maple on the fingerboard or rosewood that really makes a difference. So you can tell I'm happy today because I've got three great basic guitars to work from, which in a reloved world is fantastic, and I've got this one to refret for Ed, which refret was the thing I love doing most. And on top of that, I've not only got a page full of Morris logos to go, one of them goes straight onto Martin's guitar, but there we have it, 36 quid's worth of metallic quality Morris logos. These are the basic reloved logos, which, believe it or not, I didn't have. I either had Morris Aristocats for these old beasties, but Martin specifically wanted a reloved logo with just Morris for his Strat, so I took the opportunity to buy a whole sheet of them. That's 36 quid, but it's 48 of these quality decals, so that's 48 guitars worth for 36 quid, which is actually quite a good deal. So, and I've got wiring here, got some tuners for, actually same thing actually, so these are just to replace the new ones I put on Martin's guitar. But also what's great is that while we were talking about this one, that James is sending me a set of Fender locking tuners to go on it, so that I'm going to get to try out yet another kind of piece of hardware, see how well it works. What I'm also probably going to do is get some iron gear, different jailhouse pickups for this one, and again we'll do another comparison, and I'm going to keep these and maybe we'll keep them in the next guitar or switch them to the next one if they're any different.